Wholesome and relationally healthy family is an integral foundation for a strong community and nation. The many social ills that plague our island need to be comprehensively addressed to stem the tide of depravity and bring about resilient change and healing. With this in mind, 88.5 introduces an in depth program called Family Matters. Family Matters is a 1 hour program at 11 a.m. with Human Services family caseworker. Listen in for insights and detailed information on core topics such as the disciplining of the child, the integral involvement of men, and the empowerment of women in the family, parenting and associated laws, child and drug abuse, domestic violence, and teenage pregnancy. Call in to air your views and make your contributions on 459 7885 or 459 7888. Family Matters on 88.5 Sufre FM.
Good morning, listeners, and thank you once again for having us back. Thank you, Jesus. And today we have two very special guests with us, and we're going to have another special guest. So today, in all, we are hoping to have three very special guests. Okay, so today we are celebrating something very special, and I'm going to allow my guests to speak a little about it. But before we begin to go on with our topic today, I'm going to allow these very brave and pleasant young lads from the Sufre Comprehensive School to introduce themselves. So go ahead, sir.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Imanes Justin, and I'm the president of the Students' Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Manas. Yes, miss.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Edia Flavian, and I am the first vice of the Student Council at the Sufre Comprehensive School.
Thank you very much to both of you for being here. So, could any of you tell me what are we celebrating today?
International Children's Day.
International Children's Day. Very good. And could you tell us, Mr. President, the theme for this year's International Children's Day?
The theme is Listen to Our Future.
Listening to our future. Very well said. And of course, our future are this coming generation, the children of today. And who better do we have to listen to than to our future? So, according to World Children's Day, our topic was Listen to the Future, Stand Up for Children's Rights. And of course, if you listen to our last program, you would hear that we did discuss children's rights, and we are going to have in a following broadcast a continuation of the rights of children because it is very important that children know their rights and the responsibilities. So, World Children's Day is UNICEF's Global Day of Action for Children by Children, marking the adoption of the Convention of the Rights of Children. Child rights are human rights. They are non negotiable and universal. But in too many places today, children's rights are being misunderstood, disregarded, or even denied and attacked. So, this is why now we have, of course, Children's Day, and we celebrate it because we want to stand up for our children as our division of human services is one of the entities who strongly stand up for children, protect children, and ensure that they grow up in a very conducive environment. Okay, so we celebrate Children's Day along with the rest of the world. And today, Super Comprehensive was with me. We're going to talk a little about what it is like being a child, what it is like being a teenager. All right. And with that, they are going to talk a little about what they came here to discuss. Okay. So, are we going to have you gentlemen go first?
No problem.
Okay. Sure.
So we'll be focusing on the challenges faced by students, or yeah, in school or anywhere else in the life. And first one I have is academic pressure. Students often feel overwhelmed by the need to excel in exams and balance heavy workloads. So it's a lot of pressure on them. I know, yeah, especially during exam time, and they don't know how to manage the time. So I came up with a solution that probably could help them. And this solution is organizing workshops on time management and effective study techniques, ensuring students learn how to prioritize tasks and avoid last minute cramping.
Okay, that is awesome. Please remind me of your name again.
Imanas Justin.
Mr. Justin. Yes, thank you so very much, Mr. Justin. And what you have said is so very true that a lot of schoolgoers are faced with the challenge of academic pressure. Um, Yes, academics is very important. And something that you said that really I picked up on is the balancing of your academics also with your extracurricular activities, everything else that you will do. Because we know that school life is not all about your academics, but also with your sporting lives, with anything extracurricular, right?
Yeah.
So balancing is very important. And you said that one of the things that would be workshops,
Yeah.
okay? And you focused on time management, which is very important. So you're hearing out there, if you're listening, that you need to learn to balance your time. Therefore, you make time not only for your academics, but for everything else. Sporting is very important, you know, socializing is very important for you. So now we've heard from Mr. Justin. I want to hear from Miss Theophine. Go
Okay.
ahead, Miss.
A challenge many students might face is a lack of resources.
Speaking to your mic, we want
Oh,
to hear you.
sorry. A challenge many students might face is lack of resources. Many students find it difficult to buy the textbooks or to have the proper, the proper pencils, the proper this, the proper that for school. And I feel like the government or maybe a program, there should be something just so that if a child is missing a textbook, she can go or he can go and say, I'm missing this textbook. And they will be able to support that child.
Okay. Point well taken. Very good, Miss Theophane. And I'd like to add that I know um, we we as in Ministry of Equity helps a lot in that domain. Also, I know that some of the schools have what they call a program, like a welfare program. Is there anything like that at your school, where children who are not able maybe to meet even the feeding program, the books and so on that the school helps. We also have SSDF who assist with materials for children and of course, the foster care program with the Division of Human Services, as long as children are under our care, they do get some form of assistance. So, but you are quite correct that a little more can be done to assist parents so that children do come in with the right resources. So, of course, when you tell me you come home and you say, Mommy, I cannot get my work done because I don't have a textbook or I don't have a pencil. This is not an excuse. Okay? So I'm happy to hear that you brought this up. Okay? Back to you, Mr. Justin.
The other challenge we came up with is bullying. That's a big challenge students face, children in this society. And bullying, including name calling, because we have a lot of students who call children name, like example, um, one at my school, they call him Alien Head.
Don't mention, sorry. You don't mention names.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
sorry.
that was just an yeah.
Oh, you mean that's one of the names they
Yes.
call? Oh, I thought it was somebody's
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
Because we don't give out anybody's identity. Okay?
Yeah.
So, oh, this is one of the names that they call each other.
Yes.
Alien Head.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I thought it was somebody's name you were calling out. Okay,
Yeah.
continue.
And
Sorry.
this can harm the child mental health
Mhm.
and self-esteem. So yeah, and my solution is that the senior students, they should take a role and patrol the school, go to the younger ones, ask them, and if they witness any bullying incident, they can report this child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good suggestion. It sounds like a program I remembered one school having like a mentorship program where you'd have a big brother, big sister kind of
Yes.
program. So you would look after the younger ones. But sometimes you find it's the older ones bullying the younger ones too. Okay.
Well, it's true, but then they don't just go to the senior ones, like example prefects, spell helpers,
Okay.
or myself, the students council. Yeah.
Okay, great. So then what do you think that the Students' Council can do to limit bullying? You as the president, I'm not putting you on the spot. So we're still talking about bullying and how especially the older ones, and you mentioned the Students' Council. So you as the president, what do you think you could put in place to limit bullying as much as possible at the school?
Well, we talk to them. We can talk to them and let them know that um, people got feelings too,
Very
and
true.
this can damage the mental health because some students, they do the things and they don't think of what they're doing or saying to others.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. So sometimes it's very good to put yourself in other people's shoe.
Yes.
So that means that you're going to be empathetic towards each other, right? And happy to hear or to see that you are the president of your school council as a young man, because many young men now need other young men to look up to. And now, being the president, I'm hoping that you can influence others to go the right way, to, focus on their work, take their studies seriously, and also to become peer helpers themselves. Okay? So, in terms of the bullying, I'm happy to hear that the Students' Council will be playing some active role at the school in assisting in this way. Do you have any other suggestions, Ms. Theophane, as to how the Students' Council can help with bullying?
Yes. Another way we can help, well, we try to help, is we go to classes like at lunchtime, break time. If we walk around the school, we just see how things are. Just to see, because sometimes when you reach in the office, they want to say, oh, that didn't happen, that never happened. But if you go in the class and you see every time you pass in, that's happening. So I feel that's another way we try to help.
Okay, so like a patrol. Great, awesome. I'm happy to hear that. So, of course, sooner than later, we'll have very limited bullying. I know that it most probably will not stop totally, but it will be limited. Okay. So back to you, Miss Theophane, who had her other points.
Okay, another thing students face in school is peer pressure. A lot of students nowadays believe if they're not in that, doing that, wearing that, they're not nobody. And that's a challenge that if you, it's not even like schools, it's mostly everywhere when you look at it. And a solution for that is just being able to develop a strong self-esteem so that when somebody comes up to you and tells you, do that or else you that, you can say, no, I don't want to do that.
Okay. Mr. Justin, I want to hear your views on peer pressure as well. Thank you, Miss Theophane.
I Like she said, a lot of children they believe like if they don't have the most expensive bag or shoe, the peers force them or pressure them to just to get that, but they don't realize um they don't know what that person did to get that
I'm happy
or
to hear
whatever.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, very well said. So with peer pressure, that is another I saw point at schools where you find children are under pressure to stand out. They want to follow the in group and the in things, right? So it would be very good to have a lot of talks on these topics like peer pressure to let the children know that, as Miss Theophane said, believe in yourself. To have a very strong self esteem is to believe in yourself, appreciate who you are, because you cannot change who you are. Right now, I cannot say I want to be a champion like Miss Theophane. I cannot go and change my skin color. I cannot say I want Mr. Justin's height. I cannot grow any taller. So I have to accept who I am. Okay. And until you don't accept who you are, appreciate who you are, it's going to be very difficult to move on. So part to have a very strong self-esteem to is to accept who you are and work on what you represent. Okay? So don't try to be like anybody else, because as we all know, we are very different and God made us very unique. Isn't that so?
Yes.
Great. Over to you, Mr. Justin.
So another main challenge is distractions. We have a lot of distractions in our society that reflects on the children, and social media as well, and late night events like carnival, jazz often disrupt students' focus on school. And we would like to encourage the parents to set boundaries during exam periods. Yeah.
Okay, very well said. All right, distractions. And I heard that you said some of the biggest events like carnival and jazz, but these would be for students, but for adults, 18 and over. But I'm happy that you said parents need to put boundaries and children need to be reminded that they are children and these activities, if they have to partake in it, would be for a certain period. And I'm happy that you're saying during exams that you need to follow boundaries and you need to prioritize. That you have your exams, Miss Philfine, you're not going to jump up carnival and tomorrow you barely awake in your exam because you have not had time to study, you have not had time to prepare. Right? So give us some more views on distraction, Miss Philfine. What else do you think can be done?
To distractions, like you said earlier, time management is one of them too. If you know you want to go and do your thing, at least know if the thing is Friday. Sorry, yeah. If you have exams on Monday and the event is taking place Saturday, Sunday, you cannot go and do that event because when you get home, you'll not have no time to study, nothing. Then you're in the exam, your head scratching.
Okay, great. Because again, it comes down to yes, prioritizing. Because remember, these events will be there. They are annual events that happen every year, but your exams don't happen every year. So you need to know that, hey, this is my future I'm talking about, and I want to set goals and I want to achieve stuff in my future. Therefore, I have to take my work seriously. My work comes before everything else. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Most definitely. So, over to you, Miss Theophane.
A challenge, parental involvement.
Okay.
Like some parents, they're very disengaged. They're not engaged with anything their children are doing at school. They don't know what days they have this, what days they have that. And At the end, when the child doesn't perform, they're quick to say, but I sending you to school for that, but you were not there to tell the child, you need to stop that and do that. And a solution for that can be to organize parent motivation workshops that touches the importance of why a parent should be involved in a child's education life.
Okay. I'm happy to hear you say that. And again, listeners, we are hearing it from the mouths of babies. Yes, they are not babies, but we call them babies because they are minors, they are not adults, they are children. And I'm happy to hear our children speak. And as the theme said, listen to,
Your
Our
children.
future,
and who are our future?
Our
us.
children.
Us, our children. Very good. So you have to listen to the children speak. So, parents, I'm happy to hear that one of the challenges they're saying is that lack of parental involvement. And this has been another sub point where sometimes I'm happy to hear that you're saying to organize workshops because most times, sometimes you do. Workshops are organized, meetings are called at the schools, and parents don't
Then
turn
show up,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
They don't. So many times, and I do understand some parents that sometimes they have work. So sometimes you're between a rock and a hard place because your parents have to work to take care of you. So we may have to speak to some employers out there to give the parents some time to attend workshops, to attend meetings, because sometimes for no fault of theirs, they cannot do it because of work. So we would have to appeal employers if you are listening. It is very important. You are hearing our children that they need the parents there. They need the involvement of the parents. And parents, if you are listening, the children are speaking. Okay. And earlier we were talking about prioritizing distractions, and it also appeals to you parents because sometimes there's a parent workshop or a parent meeting and there's a barbecue. And what do you think we'll go to? We'll go to the barbecue. When the children need to see you, they need to hear you. And to make another point to enhance your point, Miss Theophane, that parents not only to the schools, but when you come home, like you were saying, I am a parent, and when I come home, I'm exhausted. But you know what? I know that is very important for my children to listen to them, listen to how their day went. It's very important to them. My daughter gets very upset if I don't listen to how her day went. And she has to tell me every single thing that happens to when she got to the school, to when she left the school. My goodness, I have to listen. So that is very important to her. And I know it's very important to you. Also, your homework. Okay, it is very important for parents to know what homework do you have? Are you working on your SBAs? Have you done this assignment? Especially you both are in Form 5
No,
And from
I'm in Form 5.
and you're in Form
Form
4,
four.
but you both are doing SBAs.
Yes.
So that period is very critical to know that your SBAs are completed and whatever else you have towards your exams are completed. So parents, please keep our eyes, our ears, everything you have open and involved in your children's future. Okay?
Yes.
Over to you, sir.
You'd like me to take on what you said? Or?
Your next point. Yes.
So, that's it. We came
Okay.
to the end.
The
Yeah.
parents.
All right. So you heard the challenges that our children brought up, and also what I really loved about it that you had your solutions to how these challenges could be helped. Okay. And part of our theme, we had the rights of children. Do any of you know some of your rights?
And education.
Okay, so tell me, Miss Theophane, what are some of your rights as a child?
The right to an education.
Do you think children should have a right to an education?
Yes.
Why?
Because if you don't have an education, you don't know anything.
Okay. So do you think that sometimes parents make a decision to say that you should not go to school is a good thing?
Well, it depends on why the child cannot go to school.
okay, like totally to say, okay, because of religious beliefs, I will keep Miss Theophane home. I'm not going to send her to school. Do you think that's a good thing? Do you like school, Miss Theophane? No, don't answer that. Somebody might be listening and say,
Mhm.
mm-hmm. What do you think, Mr. Justin, on a right to an education?
Well, I believe every child should be at school
I'm happy to hear
because we are the
that.
future.
Right.
So
And without an
without
education,
education,
where will you be? All right. So knowledge is a window to the soul. You have to have knowledge on every single thing. So Miss Fiofin, it's very good to be at school.
It is.
School is very important. Mr. Justin, tell me another of it, the child's rights.
mm, right to play,
You
freedom of speech.
okay?
Yeah.
A right to play, to socialize, a freedom of speech, a right to speak.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. So children do have their rights and they should not be infringed upon by any adult or by anyone. And as much as you children have your rights, with your rights comes also your responsibilities. So just as you have a right to an education, you have a right to perform. You have a right to do time management. You have a right to balance. You have a right to your responsibility to prioritize. So that would come with a right to your education, a right to play, a right to speak. But you also have a responsibility because every right have
Yeah.
boundaries. So with the responsibility of playing, you need to know that there's a time for playing and there's a time for you to do your schoolwork. There's a place to speak and how to speak. Okay? Because of course we have to be respectable to our peers, to adults, and so on. Okay? So it is very important to know your rights. So I'm going to give them an assignment because at some point later on, I will want them back to speak to us about children's rights. I'm not going to speak to them. I'm not going to tell them. Yes, they've said a few, but I want them to come back here to speak to children and to the parents again. I'm inviting you back here at a later date so we can speak about children's rights, why it's important, and also I want to hear you talk about the responsibilities of these rights. So just as we had the challenges and also solutions. So you're going to have your rights, and along with your rights, you're going to have your responsibilities as well. Okay. So
Yes.
before we come to an end, I'd like you to tell me what message would you like to give out there to your fellow classmates, your parents, our listeners? What message would you like to send?
A message would probably be to don't give up. The exams, the studying, it might be hard, but it's just for a little while to get what you want to get, and soon it will all be to an end.
I want to hear that louder because that's a very important message and persons need to hear it from you. Say it louder.
A message can be to not give up. The studies are just for a while, for a little time. The classes, the waking up early. Soon, when you study hard, you get what you want to get, you'll be okay. Everything will be fine.
I'm so happy to hear that, Miss Theophane. Because many times young people drop out of school because they say they cannot take this again. It's too stressful. Okay, nothing comes easy. Just like I like to say, when you're on a bus and you're going through the tunnel in Castries, isn't it dark?
Yeah.
Do you tell the bus put me down because it's dark or jump off the bus? No, you have to sit there and go through that dark tunnel until you reach your destination. So it's similar to you at school. When you're going to school, of course, there will be hurdles, okay, where you would have to jump these hurdles of, oh, not sleeping enough, the stress and always studying. But like Miss Fiofin said, it is for a prize. So you work for the prize. Thank you so much, Miss Fiofin. Yes, Mr. Justin, what is your message?
My message is for the parents. I would like them to um, engage in school activities with the children, and also to check on them, always check on them, and have the boundaries for them, because we see a lot of children out late night, and that's not a good thing, because mess up the focus in school and on the studies as well.
I'm so happy to hear that. Mr. Justin, I want you to say that even louder. Parents from the mouths of our babies. Okay? I'm so happy that you're coming here. So let parents hear that again. Tell them again,
My
Mr. Justin.
message is for the parents, and I would like them to take responsibility and have them to engage in school activities, and to have the boundaries set for the kids, because we see a lot of kids out late night, and we need them inside, because this can mess up the focus and the studies. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Justin. Okay? And since today is Children's Day, and I was blessed by this too, and I'm hoping listeners that you learned a lot. Okay? And I'm going to appreciate them today. My other guests, please don't feel bad. Of course, I'm letting you know it's Children's Day. And if anybody who knows me knows that I absolutely love children. Okay? So I'm going to appreciate my dear Mr. Justin and Miss Theophine. I'm going to appreciate you. It's a small token of my appreciation and also part of the celebration for Children's Day. So thank you so very much for coming on our program today and furnishing us with all this information. I'm hoping especially the parents took to heart, listened, okay, and you're going to practice what you heard. All right, so let me give them their tokens. I'm hoping that you like it. It was not anything big. All right, especially you, Mr. Justin, because it's very hard to get things for young men. When you get to school, you open it. So you'll tell me if you like it. So here, on behalf of, well, I say the Division of Human Services by extension, and as the host for Family Matters, we're saying thank you for being here as our guest today. All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And thank you for having me as well, and thank you for the gift.
You're most welcome.
Yeah.
Hope you like it.
I will.
Okay. So, Miss Theophane, as if I'm not seeing you. Okay. I'm seeing Miss Theophane. Hey, Miss Theophane, thank you so very much
Thank you for having
for
me.
gracing us with your presence, for all your wonderful words and everything, and overcoming your shyness. So thank you. Thank you for being here, and I hope you love it. So you'll tell me afterwards. Don't open it now. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for the
Happy
gift.
Children's Day to both of you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Okay, and to continue enjoying your day. All right. So I'm supposed to have another guest this morning. He is not here yet, so we can just continue to have a chat until he makes it. So, tell us an upcoming activity that's happening at your school.
The pageant.
Okay, so talk to me a little more about that, Miss Theophane. About the pageant. Are you part of it?
No, I'm not.
Why?
Well, at the time I was very busy, so I wasn't able to become, part of it. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited to go to it, to wear my color.
Okay, so it's actually your house color.
No, the different contestants have different colors.
Oh, so whichever contestant
Mm.
it has different colors. So tell us a little about the colors. Do you know, Mr. Justin? So tell
I
us a little about the colors.
I know orange,
Mm-hmm.
pink, what again? I think red,
Teal,
teal,
Teal.
yeah,
Okay.
green.
I and
and
green.
green, yeah.
Great. I'm not going to ask you which is your favorite color. I won't do that because then you go to the school and you'll be getting So what date is this pageant?
December 5th, 2024 at the Sufre Mini Stadium. I think the time is 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay, 45. And what are your tickets like?
Students are 25, I believe. Adults 55.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So about for between 4 or 5 p.m.
Yeah.
at the mini stadium. All right. So will both of you be in attendance?
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
Okay, so that means how many contestants do you have?
I think it's 5.
Yeah, 5 of them.
Five
Yeah.
contestants. Okay. So we wish the contestants all the best. It's called Kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
Kaleidoscope, right. So we wish all the contestants all the best, and I guess may the best person win.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So thank you so very much again, and I will continue off with them. So
My mommy protected me and my little nephew when she got vaccinated.
My doctor is protecting me. She's vaccinated.
My aunt protected me when she got vaccinated.
COVID-19 vaccines are available for people from the age of 12 years and older. Being vaccinated against the virus does not only protect you, it also makes our country safer for those who cannot receive the vaccine.
Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
The Community Policing Unit of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, along with the St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority, will engage in an exercise to remove derelict vehicles from various areas across the island, commencing Monday, November 4th, 2024. An increasing number of derelict vehicles have been observed along our roadways, posing obstructions to pedestrian and vehicular traffic. These may also have adverse effects on the environment. In an attempt to mitigate against the significant threats they pose, and in accordance with the provisions of the Waste Management Act, authorized officers will engage the owners of these vehicles with a goal of timely disposals. We wish to advise that failure to remove a derelict vehicle may result in fines not exceeding $5,000. Anyone seeking further information is asked to contact the Solid Waste Management Authority at 453-2208 or the Community Policing Unit at 456-3718.
This message is endorsed by the Commissioner of Police of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Thank you.
88.5 Sufre FM presents Let's Connect every Tuesday from 5:30 p.m. with your host Reniata D'Souza. Also live on Facebook. Be sure to tune in as we present you with updates on local activities, events, businesses, initiatives, and upcoming opportunities for all. Let's connect every Tuesday right here on Sufre FM and online. Don't miss it.
I'm Genevieve Gonzague, and I've spent the past 2 years working the beat as a television news reporter at a national level. But my heart remained in Sufre. Now, I'm bringing the spotlight to you in the Sufre FM news package. Join me every weekday at 1 p.m. for news that matters to you. We're covering the Southwest region like never before. I'm Genevieve Gonzague, and these are your headlines.
The 7 a.m. news package, a breath of fresh air, a buzz in the morning. What better way to start off? Giving you details of what is happening, not just only in Sufre, but beyond, current affairs. You could be heading to work, children going to school, and I think definitely having this presented to you in the morning will definitely be a buzz to start off your day. Covering the southwestern region like never before. I am Kabrina Epifan, and these are your headlines.
Welcome to Youth Voices with your host, Miss Edissa Eugene, where we focus on youth advocacy, youth empowerment in academics, entrepreneurship, sports, marginalized youth, and more. Tune in every Thursday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Youth Month 2022. Devant ensemble et toute jeunesse. Evolve. Growing youth for an inclusive and transformed society. Are you ready?
When I look at where I'm coming from, I know I'm blessed, and I close my eyes and smile.
Okay, thank you, listeners. We're back. I'm still awaiting my guest who is running a bit late. My apologies. So, our topic that we had to discuss today was actually the responsibilities of men in our society. So, I will go ahead and briefly speak about it, hoping that my guest would join. Many a times, yesterday was we celebrated International Men's Day, and I thought it fitting to, of course, tie the two, International Men's Day with Children's Day today, because as the Bible says, a man is the head of a household. I know now in this modern day, some females do not want to hear that because they would say to you that, of course, we are breadwinners, and most times women are the head of the households. But when we do have the men in the homes, I would think it fitting to allow men to be men and to let them be the head of the household. I know you'll come for me, ladies, but this is just my opinion. Okay, so we have some very good fathers out there, and I would love to compliment them for the work that they are doing. Continue the great job, and it is very important for fathers to be in their children's lives. Yes, there are single mothers, and sometimes they have to play the role of both the mother and the father. But fathers, let me tell you that mothers cannot be fathers, and especially for our young boys, they need the father figure in their lives. They need their role models, because there are certain things that we ladies cannot teach our boys, and they really do need their fathers in their lives. Men, sometimes you may believe that giving a monetary contribution is all there is to it. It is fathering. No, it is not. Okay, your presence is more important to a child than just giving a monetary contribution. I'm sure we have some single fathers around, and they will tell you that it is very difficult for them to maybe even comb their girl child or even bathe their girl child. So they too have their challenges, but they do the best that they can do. They make the sacrifices. And again, I'm saying, because I would think that we have far more single mothers out there than single fathers. So it looks like fathers are not doing much, but we should not overlook the good job that the men in our society does. So again, I'm going to compliment them and ask them to continue the good work that they do. The youth out there, and that is why I was so happy to see that our former guest, the president of the school council, the Suffrage School Council, was indeed a gentleman, because so many times now you're finding that the ladies are taking over certain roles, certain positions in society, and not enough males are stepping forward, especially our youths. So I am quite happy to see that, and I'm encouraging more young men to come forward. Um, it looks like now that the boys are coming forward, because when we recently had our reading competition, there was only one boy among all the girls, and of course he came out as the champion. So he was indeed the national the champion male. So kudos to you, gentlemen, to you males, that you are stepping up to the plate and you are doing a good job. So I'm very happy for that. So I will tell the gentlemen in our society to continue the great job that they're doing. And I'm so happy that our guest is able to join us. And again, my apologies for him running late. So we are going to welcome none other than Mr. Kendall Elver to join us. Yes. Okay. So, Mr. Elver, welcome.
Yes, good morning to my dear colleague and friend, Miss Baudiamet. It is indeed a tremendous pleasure to appear on your program, Family Matters. And I would like to extend a pleasant good morning to the people of Soufriere, very warm people. And I've always said that Soufriere is one of my favorite places in St. Lucia. You know, Soufriere boasts several natural gems. And, you know, I'm always excited to come to Soufriere. So, notwithstanding my lateness, I think I had to make my way down to Soufriere because the people are indeed very lovely. Yeah. So how are you doing so far?
I am doing great, and even better that you are here and finally gracing us with your presence on this show, because I have been inviting Mr. Elver and he is so very busy. So I'm happy that you are here today, and you are going to discuss some of our responsibilities of the men. And Mr. Elver is one of the men in society who has achieved so much. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Elver, that you are one of the youth who has gotten the most awards, the most youth awards. Am I correct?
Yes. In terms of my involvement in youth work, it is very rich and long-standing. And as a result of various contributions in the field of youth development, I have been awarded the most outstanding youth of the year on 3 occasions. So that's a fun fact about me. But I think the award is really a representation of the efforts of not just me, because anytime you work in the field of youth development, you do so within the context of an organization, whether it is a development committee, whether it is an advocacy group. There are several persons who would constitute an executive that you have to work with. So it is really several individuals who contribute to the change process. And so even though I get that award, it's not just me alone. And I always like to recognize the contributions of these individuals who have really helped along the way. And some of them still do a lot of work as it relates to advocating and implementing programs to strengthen our young people who are indeed the future of this great nation of ours.
That's good to hear. And Mr. Elver, being one of the most outstanding youth workers in St. Lucia, how do you propose that you are going to encourage other young men to be involved with youth work?
Well, let me just extend belated Happy International Men's Day to all of our men out there in Soufriere, St. Lucia, and the world by extension. And I'm also extending warm wishes to our boys. as men, we have a significant role to play in the society at the various levels. In the family setting, we are there to serve as fathers, to discipline, provide for the family, and also attend to the eclectic needs of the child. And I think that's something which is very much important, because many times when we think of fatherhood, we just limit it to the role of breadwinner. But as a father, one has to be there for his child in terms of providing mentorship, guidance, having these difficult conversations so that that child feels a sense of affection and love on the part of the father. In terms of the community level, men do a lot. Men contribute in terms of carrying out various jobs in the community, and they also serve as leaders in diverse community-based organizations. Now, when we examine the situation with men, there are lots of men out there who are exemplary. They are indeed doing a remarkable job in the society. But there are some areas that we as men, we need to step up and ensure that we scale the impact that we have on the society. I make this point when you consider the disparities that exist in terms of educational attainment, when you see that it is mostly females who are doing well at school, a significant number of our boys drop out or they express a lack of interest in school. Also, when you look at our Borderley Correctional Facility and you examine the whole issue of youth crime and violence, it is pretty much males who are the victims and the perpetrators. So these are things which are not good, and it is of significant concern. Another area which I observe a significant disparity when it comes to us as men is that, you know, our female counterparts, they exhibit a high degree of ambition, industry. You know, they set the bar very high in terms of attaining excellence. And kudos to the women for doing that. And you're most welcome. And there are issues that, you know, we as a society, we need to address when it comes to women, because you have the whole issue of domestic violence. And these are things that we are grappling with as a society. But when I look at the situation with our men, I think that in terms of our attitude, our character, we need to work more assiduously in terms of achieving our dreams and aspirations. There's just so much talent and abilities that I see in our boys, our young men, and we are not capitalizing on that as males. And there are several things which I believe can be done in terms of getting men to realize their worth. One, we need to educate men that they need to depart from how they were socialized, because in time past, men would have been solely carrying out the role of a breadwinner or a disciplinarian in the family. But we need to recognize that fatherhood is a lot more than that. And sensitization and educating our men is something that I believe that would go a long way in terms of elevating who we are as men. Another area of concern in terms of intervention, and I see that is something which is happening in the field of education. I note that a lot of the schools and the Ministry of Education is now empowering our teachers with new ways of teaching so that at least they could meet the needs of our boys. I also see the introduction of several technical vocational institutes, namely in PI, Angers, and some other communities. So that is good, because it sort of says that we are looking to cater for the needs of all of our learners. And I just hope that we could make further inroads in terms of ensuring that the curriculum does not reinforce gender stereotypes, and it is a curriculum that says to our boys that they can be great, they could excel at school. Now, in terms of excelling at school, it's not just simply academically, because there are individuals whose forte may be hands-on, so they are more keen to participating in practical activities or practical subjects, your technical drawing, your building construction, your automotive, auto mechanics, right? So that is an area which I believe that as a society we have to look at. Another area that I would really like to see men playing a greater role is that, when it is International Women's Day, that's a date in May, the 8th of May, I believe, we have several activities which are being hosted to commemorate that particular occasion. And, well, people like you, at least, you are having that discussion, and that is good. But then, I mean, you're a female, and then it is not a male that is hosting something, for us to discuss men's issues. So, for me, I would really want to see us as men, we form organizations that exist to build and empower our men. We have lots of groups that do commendable work as it relates to empowering our women to help ensure that they could break the cycle of domestic violence, the vicious cycle of poverty. But then there is a lack of groups that really target men's issues. It happens in the churches where you have various men's groups. I know the Evangelical Church of the West Indies, they used to have several men's groups. I don't know whether they still exist. But for us as men, I think we need to organize ourselves. And that is needed because there is a lot of apathy among our young males, and that is something that we need to address. And the other thing is that we need to be role models to each other. Our young men out there in our various communities, particularly those who have not gotten the experience of growing up in a home where both parents are present, some of them go astray. And we as men, we are not present enough as role models for our young men who join the gangs and those who engage in crime and violence. So I think that there's a lot that we as men need to do. And I think there has to be a newness in our thinking and attitude in terms of the various roles that we could play to strengthen the society. So there's quite a bit for us to do.
I was just going to make that point when you brought about your thinking, because I remember once somebody said that yes, we have a women's shelter, but there is no shelter for men.
Yeah.
But making that point, somebody said to me that yes, at some point, men's shelter, they tried to organize it, but not many of the men were coming in. And even then, again, I was speaking to somebody about having a men's focus group or a men's group where just like you have a women's outreach and you have a group for women they could go to. Again, the men were like, really, we don't really need that. So I think more than ever, men's mindset need to change, because I think that this ego thing in men, right, it hinders a lot of progress from them.
Yeah, most definitely. In terms of what it means to be a man, if you ask that particular question of our males, they would use words such as you have to be strong, you have to be aggressive, not necessarily in terms of violence. And they somehow see in terms of being caring or empathetic as being a set of attributes that you associate with being feminine.
Or being soft.
Yeah, or being soft, you understand. But there's nothing wrong in being empathetic, being caring, being kind. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't men who are like that. And because of the way we have been socialized as men in this society, whenever we experience issues, we tend to deal with it in a manner that we would define as being macho. And we, in many situations, do not reach out for help. Like you indicated, we believe that reaching out for help is a sign of weakness. And then to be a man means that you have to be able to withstand whatever situations that you are going through. Because of our tendency not to reach out for help, particularly when us as men, we are experiencing a downward spiral or we have to grapple with different issues. You find that some men, they suffer a lot of mental illness. Some of them even resort to taking their own lives. And that is a very sad situation. I am not necessarily saying that you are to go out there as a man and speak your business with any and every individual, because you know some of the adverse consequences that could emerge out of that situation. However, we do have a society that is making progress, and there are several persons in the different helping professions, social workers, counselors, who we could reach out to, whether it is in the division of human services, our family court. There are persons who are available to help. And even at the community level, you could reach out to a pastor, a school principal, or somebody who you know that you could confide in and discuss whatever difficult situation that you are going through. Because at the end of the day, we are not designed to have the solutions to all the issues that we are going through. And there's nothing wrong in reaching out to individuals who might have gone through a similar situation. And as such, we could learn vicariously from their experiences to make our lives better as men. One of the areas that I believe is a sore point for us as men, and it is something which is very much alarming, and it is something which saddens my heart as somebody who is a social worker or somebody who works in the field of social development. Just today, on my way to Soufrière, I encountered a young man crossing the highway just opposite the Massy supermarket in Latony. And there seemed to be a trend where we have several young males who find themselves using drugs, and they are not able to handle it in a manner where it does not affect their mental health, because some of them develop substance-induced psychosis, and because of that, their functionality depreciates, and they cannot really adjust and carry out their various roles in the family or the community. So I think as a society, we need to take a serious look at this particular problem, because so many of these young men were individuals who did well at school, and then they just find themselves on our streets. I think we have to have a very holistic set of solutions to some of these issues that was highlighted there when it comes to the mental health of our young men. And we need to do a lot more education as it relates to the usage of certain drugs. I know that as a society, we are now allowing individuals to have possession of some ounces of marijuana and to smoke it. And people smoke it for all different reasons, for medical reasons, also for spiritual reasons. And I'm not hitting anybody for using marijuana for these purposes. But I must say that this is an area that I am very much concerned about. And I'm appealing to the various agencies that is a gap that we need to respond to as it relates to our mental health system in St. Lucia. I note that there is a focus in terms of trying to reintegrate them into the communities, having the families play a greater role as it relates to being a support system to these individuals. That is all well and good, but then I think we need to have a different approach when it comes to some of our young men who are exhibiting chronic mental illness. I think that our interventions are supposed to be longer term, it's supposed to be individualized, and it is supposed to address the actual needs of some of these chronic mentally ill young men who we see walking on our streets. I think as a society,
I'm so happy. I am so happy to hear you say that, Mr. Elver, because we seem to be more of a reactive
Yes,
society
yes,
than a
yes.
proactive society. And I've always been saying that we need to be more proactive because I'm saying something here, yes, that we find that in areas where we don't generate much income, that much is not being given to us to do what we need to do. And I'm saying us because we are in the helping profession.
Yes.
So when areas where persons help, like social services, our Ministry of Equity, we would need to have more resources in order, because you find this is one of the ministry that would help persons more because we are in the helping profession. And when you are working with very limited resources, there is not much we can do. So I'm happy to hear you say that, Mr. Elder, because we need to start in the schools. And you brought about the young boys. Right now, the young girls seem to be taking the lead in using drugs and alcohol, and not much is being done. So we need to start way young in the schools and so on, so that we can make a difference. So when they get out there, whatever interventions we've used will help them for when they leave. Also, our rehabilitation centers. I'm happy to hear you say that.
Yes.
That not much is being. I will say not much because, Mr. Elver, when somebody comes out, for example, they come out of prison. What do you find most times happen?
Well, when somebody comes out of the Borderley Correctional Facility, they are supposed to come out in a rehabilitated state. But I think if I say that this is the outcome in terms of them spending time at that correctional facility, then I would be lying. Now, there are lots of issues that contribute to a lack of rehabilitation. I think if you speak to the staff at the Borderley Correctional Facility, they would say to you that they lack the resources to implement the necessary programs to address the needs of the individuals who commit crime. And one of the things that we need to recognize as a society is when we look at the whole issue of justice, we sometimes limit it only to addressing the needs of the victims. That is a great thing because these are persons who have been wronged. However, from a restorative justice standpoint, for us to address issues of recidivism, we now need to ask ourselves, are there needs which are possessed by the perpetrators of crime and violence? And we now need to reframe our understanding of justice to reflect us as a society putting things in place to respond adequately and sustainably to the needs of our perpetrators. Some of these perpetrators of crime and violence, they might have grown up in homes where they experience lots of struggles, where they experience a lack of love and support, and that could be some of the reasons as to why they engage in youth crime and violence. Some of them are still grappling with childhood trauma, and to really give an individual the best opportunities in life, we need to ensure that they get the necessary psychosocial support. I will make a statement, and I do not for one moment support any individual committing a crime in our society. And when you look at gun violence, that is something which over the years has been on the rise. And that is not something that will augur well for us as a society. And one of the things I heard, which was being pronounced by one of our national leaders, was that we need to strengthen the penalties. Now, I'm not saying that people are not supposed to be penalized, but I think that to some extent can be characterized as a moral panic to the whole issue of crime and violence as a society. We need to ask ourselves, are we addressing the root causes of crime and violence in our society? Are we serious as a society as it relates to fostering social inclusion and ensuring that people are socially protected. What kind of homes are our children growing up in? Some of the children are growing up in homes that are struggling to make ends meet. Because of that situation, you find that they are easily recruited by individuals who will get them to engage in youth crime and violence, by individuals who will give them guns to go and commit crime on their behalf. So, whereas I recognize that we need to send a strong message to deter people from engaging in crime and violence, but at the same time, we need to have an approach which is multifaceted, and we have to target the root causes of crime. Ms. Bodiemet, one of the things that I believe that we need to focus on is that we need to take an evidence-based approach to the youth crime and violence in St. Lucia. Yes, we have to strengthen our judicial system, get more judges, ensuring that justice happens at a pace which is decent and a manner which is holistic. There are several observations that we can make if we conduct research as it relates to issues of crime and violence. One of the things that I note during my time as a probation officer and also working as a social transformation officer is that a number of our persons who engage in youth crime and violence, when it comes to education, some of them would have dropped out, some of them would have not done well. If you go to the board of the correctional facility and you do what you call a pre-sentence report for if somebody is on remand, that is one of the things that you will find out, that there is a strong and positive correlation between persons engaging in youth crime and violence and also persons who have not done well at school. Now, when I say do well at school, I don't necessarily mean academically. Yeah. And so I think we need to really support the improvement in the educational attainment of our males in particular. And I mentioned that we need to change and adapt our teaching strategies when it comes to boys. There are other things that we could do. I mean, the Ministry of Equity, as you would know, it has a community after school program that provides academic support, life skills, and psychosocial support to vulnerable children. And that is a step in the right direction. But most definitely, we need to do more to support our young men developing a set of character traits which would put them on a path where they become productive and responsible citizens, where they believe in themselves, where they set high standards, and they want to make a positive contribution to the society. So I think there is a need for us to really look at the issues that are contributing towards our young men engaging in youth crime and violence. Now, at the end of the day, it is not all problematic for our young men. There are lots of young men who are doing exceptionally well in our society. There are young men who are excelling educationally. There are young men who are entrepreneurs. There are young men who are exemplary fathers. So big up to all of these males who are doing a wonderful job. But as a man, I really would want to see us do way better in this society. I see that we are falling behind in several areas, and that is something that I think which would not augur well for us as a society. We need to maintain that balance and see us as men doing way better in the society that we live in.
I applaud you, Mr. Elver, and well, your points are well taken. As you were speaking, I was thinking of a mentorship program.
Yeah.
And not in our schools, but sort of a mentorship program in our communities. If you could develop mentoring programs in our communities where you have upstanding citizens, males, especially males, who are doing well, that other young men can go to learn a skill from, can speak to, almost like what I was saying, to have the male focus group. Because if you look at it, Mr. Elver, you'll see that a lot of our issues stems from the home. So we have a lot of broken homes right now, and a lot of homes, as I said earlier, that are headed by females. I'm not saying that we are not doing a good job. We are. But as I said again, and I'm going to say it again, that there are things that young men need to be taught that a female will not do a good job as a man would. So the men need their father figures. The young men need their father figures.
Yes,
They
yes.
need the role models.
Yeah.
So if we could get that, our mentors in our different communities, of course, to help shape the young men, that would be good, because sometimes they don't get it at home. Okay,
Yeah,
and
most
even,
definitely.
even when you look at our school system right now, we have more females than we have males.
Yes,
Isn't
yes.
that
The
so?
teachers, yeah, yes, most
Yes.
definitely.
So we need a lot of male support. We need the mentors to help shape the young minds of the ones growing up, so we could see a change.
Yes, most
Okay?
definitely.
So not strengthen the penalty, as you were saying. Yes, you could do that, but of course, let's be more proactive.
Right,
To start
right.
from the home, start from our communities, try to shape these young men into better citizens than it is to start fighting crime.
Yeah, I quite agree with you. I think mentorship is something that a lot of our boys require in order for them to realize their true potential in life. A lot of the positive role models that you see in the society are females, as teachers, as entrepreneurs, as leaders of community based organizations. And we find that our men are taking a back seat. And because of that, our boys are now internalizing that much is not expected or required of us in that society. And as such, you don't really push to achieve the heights of success in diverse fields. And I think that this is an issue that if we don't try to resolve it, that would not augur well for us, because these men eventually become fathers, and they are required to carry out various roles in the family. And if, as a boy or a young man, your experiences were not healthy or you did not develop in the right manner, that affects the quality of you carrying out your various roles as a father. So we need to understand that the investment that we are required to make in our boys, it is something that could lead to us having stronger families. And one of the things that I note is, even though you are not physically present in the house to raise up your child as a father, that is not an excuse for you not to be there for that child. And we need to go away from the mindset that parenthood is something that is only for the mother, but we as men, we have a very important role to play. Because, as you rightfully indicated, in terms of being a role model, a child is more likely to want to emulate what a father is doing if it is a boy that you have who is the child, because people are more likely to copy persons who share similar characteristics as them, as Albert Bandura would suggest in terms of his theory of social learning. So the call is for us as men to be serious in our roles as fathers. And even though you are not a biological father, you could still be a father to a young man in the community by offering mentorship. And in terms of mentorship, whereas it is an area where if you implement in a program, you really have to train people to be mentors. But there are things that we can do as men in the community which does not require a lot of us, and we could be there and be present for a young man who we see going down the wrong path, having a conversation, asking them how are they doing today, what do they want to achieve. And there are some men who are doing well in the society, and so you could say to that young man, hey, I could help you become an entrepreneur. I could help you learn a trade. We have lots of persons who are in tiling and the other technical vocational areas. And you could take a young man under your wings and try to mentor that young man. You don't have to have a bachelor's degree for you to make a contribution in that particular field. And I think there are men who do that. I see people like Ninja Dan, Venus Rastaman, Cherry, Mr. Chad Daisy, Jonathan Shallow. There are lots of men who are doing these things. But I want to see more of us at the community level. And our football coaches, they do a lot. And, sometimes when we look at sports, we sometimes reduce it to basically physical interaction. But from a sporting perspective, there is a lot of mentorship that happens on the part of our coaches. And, we just lost one of our greatest coaches in St. Lucia, Mr. Emmanuel Delas. And he was one of the pillars in the community of Vieux-Fort and in the football world in St. Lucia. And I just want to extend condolences to Mr. Movin Delas, his wife, his family, And I just want to encourage us as men to be more present and to take up our various roles in a more serious manner. And let us set the bar much higher for ourselves, and let us not just let our women, do all the great work in the society, but we too need to put our hands up and be counted and make a positive contribution in terms of helping to empower each other and to help our society become a better place for us all.
Indeed, Mr. Elva. And thank you so very much for all the points that you've made. And I'm hoping that our young men, our men out there have been listening and internalizing all that you have said. Thank you very much for our listeners. And we do have some comments, but unfortunately, today we are running out of time. So thank you all for all your comments. Mr. Sheldon Lionel, Nadia Kazabor, and Pectoralis Major. Thank you so very much for all your comments. And I ask you to join in on our next program, which is next Wednesday. And of course, I'm hoping that we do have some callers. Again, Mr. Elva, thank you so very much. And before we end, today is, yesterday was International Men's Day. And again, I'm apologizing to other guests I've never given anything, but it is just close to Christmas. And it was International Men's Day, and I'm very happy that Mr. Elva joined us today. So I have a token for you, Mr. Elva.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much.
For making the effort and also for appreciating one of our great men in society. So it's just a very small token. Please do not open it now.
All right.
So
no
thank
problem.
you so very much.
Yeah, so that has been a pleasure.
And thank you again, listeners. Yes.
My mommy protected me and my little nephew when she got vaccinated.
My doctor is protecting me. She's vaccinated.
My aunt protected me when she got vaccinated.
COVID-19 vaccines are available for people from the age of 12 years and older. Being vaccinated against the virus does not only protect you, it also makes our country safer for those who cannot receive the vaccine.
Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
I'm Genevieve Gonzague, and I've spent the past 2 years working the beat as a television news reporter at a national level. But my heart remained in Soufrière. Now, I'm bringing the spotlight to you in the Soufrière FM news package. Join me every weekday at 1 p.m. for news that matters to you. We're covering the Southwest region like never before. I'm Genevieve Gonzague, and these are your headlines.
Stage name, Energy Buzz, radio name as well. What is different about my show is that it is full of energy, like my name says it all. Full of vibes. My show basically starts from 2 to 6 on a daily, Monday to Friday, Saturdays, weekly 2 to 6. It's called the Energy Drive. What it entails is like I like to introduce people to new music. I like to educate them on the artists as well. what's new, what's trending in the musical industry. Right now we're 12 years in the making, and we as a team look to get bigger and stronger. I've just been doing music my entire life. I don't know anything else but music. So I could say music saved my life as well. So tune in to Super FM every single weekday from Monday to Friday with me, yours truly, Energy Buzz with the Energy Drive. You see, I'm so super excited. So this is the excitement that I want to share with you guys. So make sure you tune in to Super FM 88.5 with yours truly, Energy Buzz, 2 to 6 from Monday to Friday. Saturdays it fluctuates. You can either catch me from 9 a.m. or from 1 p.m. Alright, so make sure, share the love.
So I will say good morning to you. Welcome inside another edition of the Traffic Mix. You know how we do. Destination 2 o'clock. Hey, my name is Ulan Zimforian. And of course, we're inside this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday morning.
Only Vibes Beats.
Apart from playing music that persons will dance to, love, enjoy, I love to be very informative. I like to inform the audience, you know, as to what's happening around that. Alright, what's trending, whether it's locally, internationally, regionally. You know, people have to know what's happening. You understand? Certain things you might not know that's trending. Yeah, man, that's what we're here for. Keeping you guys in the loop, letting you know what's happening. Alright? I consider myself to be versatile. You know, you understand? I'm always trying to better myself one way or another. Folks, if it's on a Monday up until a Friday, we have it covered. When I say covered, I'm talking about a traffic mix from 10 o'clock up until 2 o'clock. All genres of music, some of your favorite there is, not forgetting keeping you informed as to what's happening, whether it's locally, internationally, globally. You know, we have you covered. So, tune in. Break the knob. Leave it on there. Tune in and break it, leave it.